Thanks for the lovely introduction. So, the topic that we have is how do we fast track to top three? And so I actually jumped down, without wasting time because we're running out of time. So Tulsi ji, you have been, you have seen the economic cycles and the business cycles in both the US and in India, because your experience in the US has been into the cutting edge, research on fuel cell, still in the formative years. What kind of lessons can India take when we want to be in the top three? Because US has been a top economy in the globe while you were there and also now. What kind of lessons do we take from the economic progress or the journey of the US when we take this ambition to fast track to top three?
Thank you, brother. India, in last 10 years has been on the world radar. Everyone knows that. There is every reason now, obviously, for every Indian in India as well as out of India to aspire for what we are calling is the third rank. Maybe someday second rank, dare to do first rank, decades to come. Fair enough. My prime concern is that it's not about only that ranking of GDP, because that is not a sufficient condition. You see, GDP, with due respect to the economists, we have been measuring GDP only in quantitative terms. Ever since it was invented in 1934 by Nobel laureate economist, we are not measuring the quality aspect of GDP. So it is not enough just to talk about GDP in terms of quantity. It is also equally important to talk about in terms of quality. I'll mention, and this is not a theoretical construct, let me mention to you about, you mentioned about USA, which is the first ranker now, right? And US was the first ranker in 1970s also when I went as a student to America. But that America and this America are two opposite Americas. We need to understand clearly that what is the difference between first USA, there was a time post-World War 1945 to around mid-70s, that's the time I went to America. Economy grew in America from practically negative in 1945 to a point where average American had a 70% prosperity, average American, by the time mid-70s. What does that mean? That 30% of your time is invested for basic survival needs, whereas 70% extra time is available where people could think and do creative work. And there is a second America. That is now. In last 40 to 50 years, American economy has declined in terms of quality to so bad that even full year of working is not sufficient for survival for average American. It is negative actually. So tell me, we are calling this America also first, and 70s America was also first. Which America we want to become? So which one do we want to follow? This is a crucial question.
So can you give me one illustration in terms of what exactly is maybe one life aspect that has changed?
Yeah, see, as I said that GDP has a positive quality and negative quality. Correct? So while we are saying, say, GDP is a 10%, we need to be sure about what percentage of that GDP is positive GDP and what percentage is negative GDP. Let me give you an example. Let us take an example of that you have an economy where you have 100 rupees of food economy. But food is of such nature that you fall sick. And then you go to hospital, you waste your time and your personal money to cure yourself. And that economy is, say, 400 rupees economy. On the whole, GDP will be measured what? 500 rupees of economy. Fair enough. But the point is, suppose if you had a better food at a little higher price of 100 to 150, and you had a preventive health care as your health care economy of not 400 rupees, instead 200 rupees. So on the whole, you will have only 350 rupees of economy. But which is the economy which is better economy? And then the time and money that you would have saved in the preventive health care, people will be investing in creative, and you could generate 300 rupees more economy, a better economy, going beyond the original 500 rupees economy, which has a GDP, has a negative content in that.
Right. I think that's a fantastic way to look at it. So I think, Guru, I'll have a very specific question to you. As we fast track and grow to number 3, it has to be inclusive growth for sure. How can digital transformation and definitely the idea of 100% penetration in insurance actually help us to achieve this inclusive growth and still reach number 3?
Oh, that's a wonderful question, and thank you, Tulsi, for this broad outlook which it gave on the economy. And I take your particular point on inclusiveness and how that is going to, as an example of Xangam, we are implementing inclusiveness is via digital transformation. I take the example of insurance penetration. I think there is nothing more inclusive than the vision of our Prime Minister, in which he has implemented PMJJBY, Prime Minister Jeevan, Bima, Yojana. And this goes to the entire spectrum, at least from a perspective of personal accident. This is one of the largest in the whole world. And I'm very happy to say, from Xangam perspective, we got the technology. In fact, we have a product which actually processes those applications very rapidly, very fast. And we're talking about cases like around 2 lakhs per second. So definitely digital transformation is helpful, because it's a no-brainer that if it's done manually, it may almost never ever be possible to achieve the vision of inclusiveness which has been given by our Prime Minister. Yeah.
Okay. Anything specific on the insurance sector that you want to give as something to safeguard from? Okay, I think just maybe a quick bite. Okay. So I think, basically what we wanted to say here is that insurance as a sector can actually help us to fast track to number 3. Where we need to take care of, one is the penetration, which can be through technology, digital transformation. At the same time, build trust, which is faster claims processing using digital technologies. So I think we are running out of time.
Absolutely. I'll just make one point, maybe for the next 30 seconds. There is also a question of trust, which comes in penetration, and that is one of the major points which will be hurdles which will need to be addressed so that it becomes 100% penetration. And from a trust perspective, once again, there is an epochal statement which is done and made by RDA, which is claims within 3 hours. And we have technology. I'm very happy to say Xangam has got technology which is taking it forward. So the final point is, yes, it's only by digital transformation that inclusiveness and a robust, let's say, economy, which is fast tracking to number 3, can be possible.
So on that note of timely processing, I think our time's up. So we'll actually make a way. Thanks again.
Thank you so much, gentlemen, for that.